Oh no. Right, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of EOTT, Everything on the Table with me, Jimmy James. I have a treat for you today, ladies and gentlemen. We are lucky enough to be joined for the first digital three-way conversation on the EOTT podcast with the lovely Seed Sistas from Sensory Solutions. How are you, ladies?
Herbal Evolution.
We're doing good.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, thank you for coming along and having a chat, ladies. I found the work of Fiona and Karen on the Breaking Convention 2019, and something that's a bit close to my heart. You know, it's basically getting back to the earth. You know, all the different things that are already there for us. And I also noticed that the ladies won an award this year for Kindred Spirit 2019. This is what we love here on EOTT, Kindred Spirits and Intrepid Explorers. So, ladies, if you'd be so kind, give us a little bit of background, if you would, and tell us about yourselves and how you kind of got onto the path that you're on right now.
Because you've introduced us with that award, we just need to have a look at what that actually means.
Okay.
The community initiative that we've been trying to proliferate and put all our heart and soul into is about planting medicinal community gardens. And
Beautiful.
Everyone that comes through and connects with us in our apprenticeships and teaching courses, we decided to give them a bit of a task so that they become activists over traditional practitioners and teach people. We want to share the education.
We decided that having people on our course that then go and just treat people one-to-one is great because more people have access to herbal medicine, but that actually what we want to do is proliferate this knowledge, getting back out there. So often people don't even know that the sage plant in their garden could help their sore throat and possibly even walk past it on the way to the doctors. And it's about creating access to that information. So they build a community medicine garden, they get people that are into plants involved, and then they have information about the herbs available for people to be able to see. And it's been incredible to watch how it's growing.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah, go on, sorry.
And just working and moving forward with our profession and our careers in a creative way, letting the plants lead it. So we've always practiced what we call magic on the hoof. So whenever we feel like, oh shit, we need to sell 2 more seats on that workshop because we really need to do that, otherwise what are we going to do? Let's call in some abundance. We pull over and we see what plants are there, and that's
nice.
Going on for a long time. Or
we noticed that in the spiritual world there was a lot of doctrine about how things should be done, and that quite often people were coming to us going, am I allowed to do that, or can I do this? And we were just like, you know what, you can do whatever feels right to create what it is that you're asking for, that you want. And that's how we've worked throughout our lives together. We met on a degree actually in medical herbalism.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it was full on, 4 years, full time, really medicalised.
It got us into, well no, it didn't get us into, but it
pushed us into.
It made us more fun dressing up as, because they made us wear a white coat and have a stethoscope in clinic.
Awesome.
I like dressing up.
Quality. Well, it is a breath of fresh air, you know. It's just, in this day and age, everything is just pharmaceuticals, when all these pharmaceuticals are, as far as I'm aware, patented synthetic derivatives of stuff that comes from nature, right? Pretty much. That's essentially the essence of it. You know, I'm sure you will know about all the Cancer Act and all that kind of stuff. And as you say about discovering, I didn't. Yes. Boo indeed. It's like there's so many natural remedies that can heal cancer. And just from a quick little personal anecdote from myself, I've always been a very open-minded explorer, looking into everything and anything. And even as recently as, I think it was 2014, a friend of mine was telling me about his mother has been healing she worked with older people in the community, and she was healing them with juicing diets. They were being diagnosed with cancer and she was healing them. And even then, that wasn't very long ago. And I was no, that can't be right. And then I did a diploma in vegan and vegetarian nutrition consultancy and started researching into a lot of this stuff. And it's like, actually, yeah, you know, the alkalizing of the body and all that kind of stuff. I saw you were in Wales a few weeks back. Did you find any good, nice spots with some herbs and plants while you were there? My old motherland.
You know, just what you were saying there about getting into juicing and veganism and getting into health it's a real physiological and physical level, what we put in ourselves.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And one of the things we've been really talking about recently is switching all of our perceptions to stop looking at nature as wallpaper. So
right.
All of those plants that you might be juicing that have got whatever nutrients in them, we can list their phytochemicals and their vitamins.
Yeah.
They've each got a spirit, they're each alive. We actually have the ability to communicate with each individual plant, and it's like taking another step deeper. It's like going deeper down the rabbit hole.
It is, certainly is, yeah.
That's something that we're very passionate about. And when we harvest, when we pick the plants, we've been picking rosehip recently.
Okay.
Sometimes we are very conscious, or all the time, we're conscious of what we talk about while we're harvesting, because you can take hours, you can be picking a particular plant. And with rosehips, it catches you. Each bush, when it's had enough, one of its barbed.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Taken enough from this bush.
Oh, okay. That's really interesting, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
They look scary with these barbs. The dog rose, the wild dog rose, has these huge, big, beautiful thorns on it. And it's really generous with its medicine. So they're laden at the moment. It's early autumn and they're all over the hedgerows, creeping scarlet berries. And they're there gifting this nourishment and this support. But when enough is enough, they let you know. And there's that real sense of boundaries and protection within them.
You see them in the hedgerow, you know, that the wild rose growing next to the hawthorn and maybe the snowberry, and they're all cousins, they're all the same family, the rose family, Rosaceae, and they powerfully hold a strong boundary locked arm in arm.
They're an impenetrable boundary. They're designed to keep things out and protect the crops within. Yet they give this amazing goodness and nourishment to animals, to birds and to humans as well.
It can gift us that, you know, whenever you feel like you need stronger boundaries in your life.
Yeah.
Which is something that is paramount to a lot of illness and disease. When people are constantly giving and giving, they get exhausted and other symptoms can set up in their bodies.
And also that idea of creating protection for yourself. It's a word that's shied away from a lot in the spiritual world, that the idea that if you protect yourself, you might be attracting things towards you that you need protecting from.
Right, okay.
Our work with sensory herbalism is actually read or follow the plants. So the plants create these protective mechanisms so that the right amount is taken and that their energy is conserved so that they can keep reproducing or growing the next year. And within that, we've really looked at that with these hedgerow plants and in creating remedies that provide nourishment and encourage convalescence after illness, because people are tired.
Yes, they are. This is a common theme, it seems, you know, lots of different things that we're getting into with regards to the podcast, and this is quite a nice one, you know, this is some really nice enlightening and informative information. But we do get into some of the other stuff, and as you say, you know, as a collective we are kind of under the cosh, as it were. So health is very important. We're under attack from so many different angles. You can't do enough really to protect yourself and get yourself in a healthy kind of position. And you know, when you're saying about the sustainability relationship with certain plants and whatnot, like having studied a bit of shamanism and native cultures and whatnot, for those who have literally lived in the jungle or in these habitats, and that is just their daily experience. They have such an intimate connection with nature. Those things you're talking about there, for someone like myself, might be a bit obtuse and think, oh, I've got a little bit of a sting there, and carry on and carry on. Whereas when you get that kind of synergistic relationship with the plants, you get to recognize these different things. So yeah, so is this all in the book as well? So we've only recently met, so I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but you obviously, I imagine, listing the different bits and bobs. You're then getting into, like, so for example, you said rose hip is out at the moment. Obviously autumn's upon us, the blackberries are out, and mushroom season is about, for those who are interested in that kind of stuff. But what have we got, like, what's in abundance at the moment for people who can, just stuff that they've probably seen every day walking their dog, and they didn't ever realize, what it was or what it could be used for beneficially? What kind of stuff can people look out for at the moment?
In sensory herbalism, which is our system of herbalism, and the autumn, this time of year, is under the element of air.
And the
Right.
plant part, the seed or the fruiting body, as the harvest really kicks in.
Which is abundant now, and the hawthorn berries. So when people
Nice.
go out and they see those trees in the hedgerow that have got a bright shock of red berries, they might want to go a bit closer and see if there's thorns on that tree as well, and have a look at the shape of the leaf. And the hawthorn is one of our most amazing heart nourishing tonics that we've got.
The berries actually look like anatomical hearts.
Oh, nice.
There's an idea of Paracelsus and Galen around that time of the doctrine of signatures, that nature or spirit has stamped its mark onto everything to indicate what its uses might be as a form of communication or language. And when you look
Right.
at those hawthorns and their perfect heart structure, and they've had research done onto how they support the blood vessels that specifically feed the heart. And we know that the heart is a perceptive organ, so it has these receptors for neurotransmitters. So as we respond to our environment and experience emotions, the heart directly picks up on that.
And the heart, every time our heart beats, it literally sends out an electromagnetic pulse.
Yeah.
And some people would call that your auric field. It can be measured. It's totally measurable.
And it's
Yeah.
measurable that it alters when other people come into your sphere or space, or when you're in a different environment. So that kind of intuitive feeling that you have that an atmosphere doesn't feel right or good, or you're not comfortable, is actually something that is almost measurable. And the hawthorn has, you can make hawthorn berry ketchup. Delicious.
Oh, nice. I like ketchup. I eat way too much ketchup. Even, yeah, I'll have to try to have a look at that.
That you could use alongside this podcast if you like.
Yeah, beautiful. In the description box.
Everyone can make this ketchup. It's really easy, delicious, and it's food as medicine. And that's, an incredible tool to bring into your home.
Well, this is it, like, don't get me wrong, I love all the trappings of modern life, and that includes the food. There are some great, and we know it's garbage, but it is nice, and it is, chemically addictive as well. But when you break it down, in reality, if, for example, and we don't spout fear porn or anything on this channel, we just talk about potential reality. And if as we look into history, we've seen there have been supposedly cataclysms, what have you. If we were forced to fend for ourselves and something were to occur and we were left without kind of, essential services and all this kind of stuff, how many people are actually, I certainly include myself in this, are able to pull the old Bear Grylls persona out of the cupboard and get out there and, survive, basically. I've spent time with travelers, and they haven't lost it. They've held on to that, and it's quite nice actually. I have a mate who's a fifth generation, and members of his family will ask, "Oh, where are you staying at the moment?" And he'll say where, and they'll say, "Oh, right, you will go down to this spot. We planted some apple trees there this time, and other bits and bobs." And he does the same now with his daughters. It's a really nice way of living, and that's kind of how we should be. And you should know, in your geographical location of wherever you are, however big it is, even if it's just a few square miles, you should know really where everything is to be able to survive. People can live off, nettle and root soup. If that's what we have to be reduced to bring ourselves back, the human body, apparently we can be breatharian. That's another kettle of fish, but you know, we can survive on a much more basic kind of diet. Go on, sorry, I'm sure.
I'm just coughing because breatharian is just too much for me. But
yeah, I can not mind it, you know.
yeah. I'll challenge you, all right? If you do breatharianism, I'll watch it.
Wow, I'm a chubby bugger. I like my food, you know. So it's not one for me. I do intermittent fasting, and I've been doing OMAD, 1 meal a day, which is kind of a step in the same direction. I've read, you know, research as people have supposedly, you know, been able to subsist without food and water, but unless I see it with my own eyes, or I'm able to do it. But you know, I'm open to anything really.
Yeah, I'm sure the odd guru out in other lands
Yeah.
actually explored that. But what we're really devoted to is what you were talking about, reconnecting people with their local land and having a conversation with your local land and nature.
And bringing something every day that grows outside into your diet or your medicine or your cup of tea, even if it's just one thing, directly interacting. And you can do there's hundreds and thousands of faddy diets that you can go anywhere. You talked about alkalizing the body or breatharian or veganism, or you can go down any route that you
treating them as fatty diets. I love it.
any route. Well, people can be vegan for a month, don't they? They do stuff like that, and then you know, you can go down that one route, and that's cool. But nature's still there outside, and it's not just about a health food shop or a supermarket organic section. It's about interacting with the plants that grow around you, whatever it is that you're choosing and doing. That's our message anyway, and that's what
yeah, I like that. And on that note, if I may, so I was seeing on your post and what you discussed earlier, which is basically the kind of community project on the ground. This is kind of what we're all about. What we're establishing is there seems to be different groups, maybe they're online groups, some are community groups, doing just all different things. And if we can bring more people together with more unity, and everyone's not just behind the screens on the computers, if we can get on the ground, like we have a meetup here in Swindon, there are a couple of different meetups. The whole thing of communal space, for example. So I know you've got that, you know, you're trying to bring people in, give them the knowledge, give them the skills to be able to then share that out further afield. And that's kind of, I think, there are a lot of people, I think, who are living in flats or don't have access to an allotment or a bit of area, but then there are other people then who do have, you know, maybe people who are older or what have you, who have a garden or a space or fields where when people come together, you know, somebody can say, well, yeah, I've got actually half an acre of land, or you don't even need a half an acre, just say a quarter of an acre. I can't use it, but you're more than welcome to come along, set something up, as long as I get, you know, a share of the spoils and all the rest of it. I think this is where we kind of need to be heading towards, don't we, really? Because the stuff coming out of the supermarkets, even the organic section, I don't really think is that trustable, is it? Let's be fair.
No.
Let's be fair.
And the transition model really supported and helped us. I don't know if you know transition farm model.
Well, tell me a bit about it, if you would, please.
So I don't want to get it wrong, but there was
every day's a school day, so that's fine. We're always open to be corrected. So yeah, go on.
Rob Hopkins, I think, is the man who was at the beginning of organising that whole model. He's written a book called Transition Town, and it sets out a load of principles how individual villages and towns can set themselves up as this entity.
Nice.
It's about sharing gardens, sharing film nights, information, but it was all about, at that time, peak oil crisis.
Right.
So we can become more sustainable than a grassroots rebel locally.
I think it's rebel.
I
think it started in Totnes initially.
Oh, okay.
But it's about bringing people together, like you said, with a shared goal of bringing community together, having communal spaces, growing food and medicine.
And it really helped us, you know, because we formed a transition model on our village where we're living. And through that, we applied for funding. And then we got funding from the landfill, the local landfill place.
Right, okay. I've seen all this stuff that they fund. Yeah, they go ahead and ruin our locality by dumping a load of shit there, forgive my French, but I will give you a couple of grand. But fair play for you to put the money to good use, so yeah, respect for that.
They gave us 75 grand to plant a local.
Nice.
And you know, and have an education space. So we've got a yurt there, and we can do educational walks, and
Nice.
it's inspiring. And there's other funding pots out there. We've had funding from the Earth Pathways Diary.
Okay.
Seed Fund has helped to plant a medicine garden that we're working at Monkton Wild. So, you know, you were saying
School
about
of social entrepreneurs, we've had support from them as well. And
Awesome.
we link up with those organisations. It does that cross-pollination that you were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Years out there and being able to share trials and tribulations of it all with other people doing really good work.
That what? Go on. Sorry, no, go on.
Making the point you were saying, if people are on their own in their flat, you know,
Yeah.
Google Transition Town, Google Community Garden Project in your area, because there are loads of good grounded garden food growing people out there. So,
Sometimes even just on a shared allotment, there's local community gardens, you know, even that, it's so cheap, accessible, easy,
and it's showing now, you know, the amount of research into how horticultural therapy, they call it, is good for your mental health.
Yes, we've got a local place called Twigs in Swindon, that's what it's all about. You know, beautiful gardens, and they have all different people going in there. It's very therapeutic, so it seems, makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's where true health is.
Yeah.
you know, and that's connecting with people and connecting with nature.
Yeah.
And the more that people know about plants as medicine, and the more that they're wanting to use herbs as medicine, because let's face it, as interest grows in it, we're going to need more diversity in our hedgerows. People care about it more, and they want to plant more herbs, and they want to make the hedgerows more diverse.
And they don't rip up. You know, people rip up hedgerow and plant laurels, because laurels are is a fast-growing evergreen, non-native, absolutely useless tree that looks good. It's very easy to plant. This is what's planted throughout our lands when they rip up apple trees, and but that's lack of education. People don't realise what they're doing. And, you know, that's why it's so important, and we've got rockets up our asses, we're on fire, and we want to just keep changing it, cultivating change.
I liked what you said about when it all, you said something along the lines
Come
of
the apocalypse.
Oh no.
a friend of ours was saying that our book, the Sensory Herbal Handbook, this is one of the best reviews we've had. He was like, it's going in my box, for when it all kicks off.
The bug out box.
Yeah. It's like, it's in my survival box. And
That's a guy who's got the right idea. Yeah, I like him.
So our book, because it's got recipes, it's got medicine in it, he was like, you know, that's what I need. So yeah,
It is, and you know, jokes aside, we do jest, but you know, these are quite important issues, and you know, it'll be the difference between life and death, I think, in some cases, not to be extreme, but you know, I personally don't have half as much knowledge as I'd like to have, so it is kind of, and as you say, with the kind of educational stuff, are they teaching this to kids in school? I don't think they are they really? Not to the extent that they should be.
Who are they?
Well, the indoctrination system and all that jazz.
Who's in charge of our land?
Well, this is it. This is our planet. Do you know what I mean? We've just been hijacked, essentially. So
It's up to us to teach the kids in school. It's us.
Yeah.
Responsibility. And if you've got any knowledge at all, teach everyone.
and teach the teachers.
Yeah,
we've
been going into schools to teach the teachers how to teach them.
Nice. And are they receptive?
Yeah, well, lots of them don't know what oak trees are. We've had, you know,
Shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking.
But if people aren't brought up with plants as medicine in their
This is
life,
it.
that's
Yeah.
not something they're naturally going to be able to pass on. You know, there's not a basic standard of drink this mint tea for that sort of tummy, have this sage spray for that sort of throat. There's not, you know, but it doesn't have to be that complicated to do simple fun stuff with kids. So ideally, eventually, that's what we'd like, a whole branch of the curriculum which is related to using plants as medicine.
As it should be. As it should be, yeah. Because, we've come away from it all. We've lost a lot of it. My grandfather, you know, the only thing they used to buy was, sort of meat and dairy. Everything else was grown in the garden. He had like a 7 or 8 or 9 tiered garden. And he used to literally grow everything. Like everything was all homegrown. And I used to frustrate him. I wasn't very good on the shovel, so he didn't pass the knowledge on to me. But yeah, like that, just one generation had it all, totally self-sufficient, to then my parents kind of, you know, work life, shopping, convenience of supermarkets, to me, I can grow a bit of cress, I think, or maybe a bit of a sweet Mary Jane, but that's a different issue. So
it's not a different issue. If you can grow sweet Mary Jane, you can grow tomatoes.
well, no, of course, you can. It was quite funny actually. I was reading the other day about it's not just the bud and the leaf. You can actually use all the roots and everything, which makes complete sense, really. I just hadn't really thought about it. And it's like, don't be chucking the roots out. You can use them to make balms and lotions, and like nature, nothing really needs to go to waste, does it?
Reduce the leaves. No, it doesn't. And growing a plant is growing a plant once you've connected. You love your plants, don't you?
Such a therapeutic hobby, growing cannabis. I don't grow it anymore if there's any law enforcement watching, so don't even bother. But yeah, I have done in the past, and such a therapeutic. Like, I think for a lot of people, getting into gardening and planting, they find something that they didn't realize that they'd lost. You know, that connection, and just the getting your hands in the soil, and it's just, as you say, the vibration thing with the heart. Like, yeah, it does project out. I think it's about like 5 foot. They can detect it. You know, someone might come into your field, they don't even have to speak a word, you just feel their vibrations, and you know if you're feeling good or you're feeling bad. And it's the same with nature, you connect with everything. There's so many different experiments where they've shown, you know, I think they were trimming the grass with trimmers, and they were showing, and the plants were moving away on camera, like literally moving away. Like, oh, you're like, alrighty then, there's a intelligent system right under our nose here, and we've just, I think Avatar's quite a good little insight into it. There's a lot of truth in plain sight there with all the connections.
Really cool, isn't it, Avatar? It's a really
Beautiful.
Loads of levels to it.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And, you know, everything is all connected, actually. So it is really nice. What have you found with regards to the on the ground community project? How long has it been going on for?
Oh, we've been working towards it now 15 years.
Oh, nice. And it's been a progressive, growing kind of entity, is it?
Yeah, well,
so there's like the pilot scheme of Northall Community Orchards in Parents Village in Hertfordshire, but
Nice.
our bigger, wider project is about teaching our apprentices to go out into their communities. And we've also got a community medicine garden at Monckton Wild in Dorset where we work.
We planted one at Springhead.
And we planted one at Springhead. All of the centres that we work at, we plant herbs in, and we wildcraft in the hedgerows there, and at Gaunt's House as well. So a lot of these centres that are for sustainable living or spiritual development we go to, and more often than not there's very small diversity in medicinal plants, which seems strange, but it's something that needs to be addressed. So we come in, we have work parties, volunteers come, our apprentices help support it, and learn as they're working on growing the medicine, you know, from seed, that magic of the seed cracking open and watching it grow, and then being able to harvest those herbs and give back to nature by supporting their growing cycles. And it's just, yeah, that has been all going on for the last 15, 20 years that we've been developing the way that we want to see this change, this shift in our current paradigm about how we think about medicine and self-care. And we're like, we want to shift it.
Yeah, fair play to you. I've got a massive respect for you, ladies. You know, you've had your ears to the ground working hard all this time. You mentioned Totnes, and I have a friend, Mandy, who's been back and forth to Frome. I'm sure you're aware of Frome. I think one of the only town constituency with all independent councillors, which is an interesting prospect, because apparently they just kind of go in as those who can be bothered to get off their bums and go to the meetings. You know, they all sit around and they say, right, well, what's the budget? What's the pot? There's the money, right? Who's got what kind of projects? Who's got what ideas? And they just hash it out between themselves. How nice would it be if everyone could just do the same thing in each town?
Localized management, you know.
This is it. Parishes.
Every area is different. The demographics different. The landscape's different, and you know, localizing decisions is
Yeah, and
is
if
important.
the more people can shift their consciousness to actually recognizing nature is them, the more that can happen. Because a lot of the conflict, a lot of the debating, argument, and conflict is because we see it. People just don't seem to realize how precious and important. You know, why are we even discussing what's going on politically? Personally, I feel like, what are we even discussing? It's a farce. There's some kind of weird comedy of spitting image going on. But what we can actually do and be active is get back to nature. And it seems so cliched, but it's the only power that. There's this brilliant guy in Los Angeles. He's called the Gangster Gardener. I don't know.
Awesome.
And he went out into his community, and he's tried to plant vegetables in front of his house, and the LA council sued him because they were like, that's our property, you can't plant vegetables. And
like on the verges, the grass verges.
And he's like, you let us live in this shithole that's full of shit, and I'm not allowed to plant carrots. And he took them to court and he won.
Oh, fair play.
He's brilliant. Check him out. Gangster
I will
Gardener.
definitely check him out. I'll write that down, actually, Gangster Gardener. We have, I was just going to say, we have a meetup in our local, the local pub, the Wheat Chief, every second and fourth Thursday, just a group of like-minded people. And outside there is a large billboard and a verge, probably 3 foot by maybe 20 foot, and it's fenced off. But we went past the other day and someone's dug it all up and planted growing cauliflower or whatever it's growing. And I'm like, who is this? It must be somebody in the flats opposite. And we were just like, yes, good work, nice. Well, everyone can do the same, right? You know?
All those communal green spaces that can be put to really good.
This is it.
Medicine. And you know, what can we do? Well, I don't know what to do about them in Parliament. I haven't got.
No. We
our letters, shout loud, go and march on the streets. But actually, what the hell's going on?
This is it. This is it.
About, once you know, you were talking about. I think you were talking about community, but actually, when you get to know the plants, when you walk outside, you are never alone, because these friends, these healers, are all around you in all of the hedgerows, and you get a real sense of community even without people around. Once you know and understand the plants. And that's just the most amazing feeling, that nature does have a visible face that you can recognize and interact with. Back to this kind of Victorian idea of nature as wallpaper. It's like, no, they've got personalities and gifts and treasures, and
and we've got an opportunity to be in relationship. You know, that everything that we eat in some way has come from nature, unless it's properly in the lab. But, you know, everything, and we've got this opportunity to have gratitude and listening. We've been listening to a book called Braiding Sweetgrass.
Okay.
American Indian woman who is also a botanist talks a lot. This word she uses is reciprocity.
Yeah, familiar with the term.
Such a beautiful word and such a beautiful concept, and we haven't been brought up with that in this culture, and we need to claim it for ourselves. We have to be able to be grateful for all this food that we're eating and really feel that gratitude. And it's special. It's really special being in this position, having some knowledge that we can share.
We've created our perfect job that's got a really good purpose. We're having
I like that. I like that. It's like, I don't have a regular job. I work for the universe. It's like, I like that. That's good.
While all the chaos is going on, we're just like,
we're actually Planet Earth Secret Service.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, no, it's true. When you say about whatever they are doing, I kind of just tend to, whilst on one thread of my life I'm putting information out there and doing my thing, on the other thread I just operate my life as if they don't even exist. I don't recognize them. I don't recognize what they talk about, what they represent, what they discuss. I wasn't there when they made all these rules up. They wasn't consulted, so I don't abide by them. It's natural law. That's all it's about. Do no harm, take no shit, look after the planet, look after yourselves, and the rest will take care of itself, you know.
But we do channel our annoyance, our rage at the fact we weren't there when they made up those laws, into creative pursuits to help change the paradigm. You know, not there, that we're completely ignoring it. It's like, let's do something positive and creative about it that empowers people, you know, like you're doing with the podcast.
Yeah.
Information out there so that people have forum to hear it, and it can just spark that, this is what it's about.
No, it's really nice. Like I said, I do appreciate everything you're doing, and it's just nice for other people to have access to all this information, because, you know, there's some people who are sitting out there who don't have access to community groups or different bits and bobs, but do have the drive to go, actually, do you know what, if they can do it, I can do it, which is just amazing. It's what you want, and you want to inspire other people to do the same thing. So it's awesome.
Surrounded by people that are like-minded, and obviously we've got each other to work with, but people that find us and come on our courses and workshops often say that it feels like coming home, and like
Nice.
they feel like they've got a different idea to a lot of people around them, but that they feel quite alone in it. And what we want to do is, or what we are doing, is creating this community of people that are like a support network for each other, even if they don't live on each other's doorstep, but that can come and do gardening days with each other. People travel from all over to help support each other, and really build that sense of community around people that do want to be connected.
And at the moment in the psychedelic community, I mean, you've mentioned the word shaman and shaman. It's huge. It's like it's a fashionable thing right now.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying that. Yeah.
And what's come with that resurgence of interest is plants traveling the globe from the Amazon and from all different ways. And we are very keen to let people understand that the plants are here on these conscious, shifting, incredible teacher, mother, father plants. They're on these lands. And you mentioned Wales. I mean, Wales is one of the most power-packed and dragon stone energy places we've got on the island.
And, you know it.
You know, it is. We love Wales, and
Beautiful place.
There among the heather and the bilberries and feeling into the land. And, you know, I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, conscious shifting.
But we've got our own traditions that are from here, and they're from the landscape here, and they're from the plants here, as are any tradition that's anywhere. It's from the experiences of the people that have developed it, and that's still here. You can access it through the plants.
Yeah, but this time of year in Wales, that's what we're saying.
Oh, what convenient timing, eh? You know.
You get yourself up those hills and become one, and go and talk to the heather and the bilberry and the mushrooms. It's a good thing to do.
This is it.
We met breaking conventions that told us he remembers how that all began, as he said that there was the biggest LSD making factory in
Merthyr Tydfil.
My hometown. I think it was in Brecon, just up the road, but yeah, it's a stone's throw away. Yeah.
So is that Operation Julie? He said it was.
That's the one. Yeah.
And he said he remembers being a teenager though in Wolverhampton, and someone coming to see him going, "Oh, you know, we found some shrooms, and let's go for a walk." And he went there. A year after, there was hundreds of people there.
Yeah.
You know, something began. The mushroom culture of these lands began, and we don't. All respect to all the plants of the Amazon and all of this globe, but we're here, right here on this land, and the land that we're on is where the plants. That's where we're from.
And our society now is different culturally than it's ever been before, and our ceremonies, celebrations need to reflect that. They need to reflect the diversity of cultures. They need to reflect us as individuals, us as collectives and communities. And we can recreate our own ceremonies and rituals here that are relevant for today and to this land and to these plants and to everybody that walks these lands. It doesn't have to be ancient or perceived ancient dogma, you know, and it's great to explore all historical cultures and pick things that feel pertinent and relevant, but that's our magic on the hoof bit. It's like,
and also when you pick something, there's something. The word shaman is from Siberia.
get it a lot with South American culture.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I've heard about this.
And as a white English woman wearing, culturally appropriating something that I don't fully understand and don't know that land, I personally would feel uncomfortable with. And I you know, I want my own style as well, and I'm not that good with authority.
Yeah.
Never have been, and you're a bit of a rebel too. So
that,
you know.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately, because I have a friend who lives in Peru. She's been over there 30 years. She's Scottish born, but she's been over there and trained under other people and ongoing training and what have you. And it was, I studied kind of, as I said, shamanism and a few bits involved. And it was always, I always thought, yeah, it'd be lovely to go over there and to, you know, partake in ceremonies and whatnot. And then it's only quite recently then I was reading stuff about actually, and I've always known about mushrooms. My uncle taught me about growing mushrooms when I was a teenager. So that kind of, you say about the mushroom culture starting, I think that was more the mushroom tourism from those away from Wales, because within our own culture as Welsh people, like, that's never been lost amongst the old, you know, the black sheep and all the rest of it. But yeah, why do you need, for myself personally, if I go to Peru, it won't be for the express intent of just to experience geographical location as well as potentially using the plant teachers there. It's on our doorstep, and I was reading some stuff putting kind of arguments forward to say that if anything, perhaps we are more in tune with our native plant teachers, because arguably we may well have evolved alongside them, so we're more in tune, which makes sense to me. Might not gel with everybody, but it does make sense. If you've got liberty caps and wavy caps which have grown, they've been in it way longer than we have as human beings. I think that's kind of shown. Paul Stamets talks about all that kind of stuff. It does make sense. You don't need to really go anywhere. It's there on the doorstep, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't eat bananas.
I don't eat bananas. That was random, but yeah.
But it's not really when you disseminate it, you know.
This is it. Go on, tell us why you don't eat bananas.
The apples are here. They grow
This
here.
is it. This is it. You know, if you take away all the imported stuff, it's there, isn't it? And it's seasonal, you know, and I think if we've evolved alongside all these plants and nuts and seeds and all the rest of it, we don't really need anything else, I don't think, do we?
And all the plants have the ability to shift our consciousness in certain ways. But you know, some shout louder than others. But
Yes.
given seemingly totally innocuous potions like plantain, not as in plantain,
Right.
banana, but you know, plantain that grows in the grass here, plantain leaves and elderflower in a combination, our earth clarity drops, because it's the only potion we happen to have in our bags. And we went to a night out to a nightclub and we were giving drops of it to people, and they were coming up going, "What was that? Give us some." Well, we're like, yeah, you can have some more. We were just like, yeah, this is for like hay fever, but yeah,
There we go.
Having it, and this is, and really powerful plants, you know.
Yeah.
The elder tree is incredible. You asked about what to do this time of year. Get out there, pick elderberries and make your own syrup.
Elderberry, yeah, I know what they look like, elderberries.
It's got Ribena that's really good for your health.
Antiviral, protects you all winter, no
your
more coughs and colds.
Squeeze a fresh lemon, hot water, elderberry syrup.
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, ladies, if it's okay with you, we might take a little 5-minute break, and then when we come back, if we can, I don't want to go into it in too much depth, because it'd be nicer to direct people rather to the video of yours, which will be up, I think, soon. I'm not sure if it's up yet on the Breaking Convention website, but you did a talk there, right, and that should be up quite soon. But it would be nice to talk a little bit about what you discussed there and what you've got coming for your future talks, if that's all right.
And we don't have time because we've got to.
Oh, that's all right.
But
That's absolutely fine. Just buy me right off here, but that's absolutely fine.
having this soccer cooked for us.
We are. Got local ice cream and apple juice to take.
Oh, very nice.
But we can say that our native, sometimes called the witching herbs, sometimes called the poisons, are plants that we love to work with in a clinical setting, medicine, the perception shifting,
and recreationally.
and recreation, which actually means to restore. It's from the 1400s in the UK.
Makes sense.
The old word for recreation is actually about nourishment.
So when they call us rec heads, you know,
Oh, I like that.
and,
Nice.
and we run a workshop once a year in December about that, and we do talk at conferences about our work. And we're also developing some online work for herbalists to get more reconnected with those herbs, because there's a lot of fear and confusion around them.
Right.
Getting the knowledge out there.
And the other thing in the pot is we're developing psychedelic comedy.
Oh, nice.
Into Edinburgh Festival.
Oh, brilliant. I've got a friend who's just come back from Edinburgh, Danny. Yeah, she does some good work, so perhaps I can link you guys up. So that's awesome.
That would be
That would be
great.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want
Awesome. So have you got any other talks coming up soon? I think I saw some links for, well, one thing I want to mention, just is Gemma and Kim. You mentioned Gemma and Kim's podcast on SoundCloud, if anyone's interested in kind of going into some further information. And also, is it the Tree of Life? Are you talking about the Tree of Life, or are you just advertising it? 2019?
I think it's the 26th of October. We're in 2019.
Yeah. So they say.
But yeah, we're on sensorysolutions.co.uk, and
Which I'll put in the description box, and the book too, the Amazon link.
that's got loads of recipes and articles and seasonal. We keep up with the seasons on there, so if people want to check in and see what's going on at this time of year, you can sign up for our newsletters, which also keeps people properly in tune with it all, and that's the best way to find out what we're doing and what's going on.
And that cross-pollination, if anyone ever wants to write for our blog or our newsletters, if they've got a good project, we just want to help proliferate any of this positivity that's cultivating change.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I will put all that in the comments box. And what I also tend to mention is, if anyone's got any questions, I will be sure to collate them all. And if we catch up, hopefully in the very near future, and we can continue our thread of discussion and see what's been going on the ground level, if that's all right with you guys.
That'd be great. We'd love to. And we wish
good luck
Awesome.
wish you well. It's great.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I say I appreciate your time, ladies. You have a wonderful evening. You're looking great. And I'll speak to you again soon. Take care.
Bye-bye.
All the best. Take care, guys.